Hi, my name is Brett Coster, and I did an AutoScan FM radio kit. The presentation outline, as we all know and have done. The FM88K is a monophonic frequency modulation receiver made on a TDA 7088T IC, which is a bipolar integrated circuit of a proper FM, which FM stands for frequency modulation, super heterodyne receiver that contains a frequency locked loop, which is actually inside the IC. The frequency range is 88 to 108 megahertz. It's also broken down into two sections, audio and RF. Essentially, we tune into a station in the frequency range, and then it's transmitted into sound for us to enjoy. Complexity was about 6. It cost $16.95. At first, it was hard to tune into the correct frequencies to get it to work. I had to play around with location and make sure the antenna was fully erected. And location because it can easily be obstructed, which I found out later. The parts list consisted of various amounts of resistors, capacitors, which were disc caps, and electrolytic, coils, which we had a 6-turn and a 4-turn. And the 4-turn coils actually was recommended to be 1/16 apart. The coils need to be 1/16 apart. The semiconductors were LED, diodes, varactor, and a LM386, which is found commonly in radios and also in guitars. Pretty standard audio amplifier. Miscellaneous objects was the FN antenna, speaker, battery holder, cat push button switch, knob, screw, nuts, and then speaker pads. The speaker pads were sticky and allowed the speaker to stick to the PC board. Here is the basic schematic that you see. The audio has 2 ICs and the RF has 1 IC. The antenna brings the signal into the input circuit of L1, C5, C6, and C7. Inside the IC, signals are led to the mixer. You see the mixer here, which gives the signals a new carrier, intermediate frequency. The intermediate frequency amplifier only amplifies, right here, only amplifies one signal. It then follows the limiter, the demodulator, the mute control circuit, which is down here, and the pre-audio amplifier, which is right here. The tuning is done by the varactor, which is a semiconductor. It's based on its capacitance. As you can see, also the reset switch is attached to the tuning search, and the scan is attached to the demodulator. This is before. Here's all the various parts that were included. We also had to use this wire to connect the speaker to the actual PC board. This is after all of the soldering. Build and debug challenges. Unfortunately, I had to make some last minute changes to my project because of suppliers. They allowed me to purchase the project and weeks later refunded my purchase without telling me. And then that was like another week or two after I realized that it was. So I ordered a few things off Amazon rapidly, and one that was more PC board friendly arrived damaged, and this was the best next option. But unfortunately, I wasn't able to put it on a PC board due to some of the limitations of the actual product. But the building process was very straightforward, as I was unable to actually use a breadboard, but when you're soldering, it's actually pretty straightforward. So, yeah. I had to play with the radio in various environments for the best sound quality. Outside was preferred. Lessons learned: put as many parts on the board than solder. It makes it much, much faster. Double check polarity of capacitors, as the ceramic ones aren't polarity sensitive, but the other ones, electrolytic, are polarity sensitive. The radio plays better outside because of less obstruction. During a pandemic, triple check with manufacturers. Troubleshooting experience. Upon soldering, I realized it's more efficient to solder the small parts first. It's better to have more space when soldering the small parts. When parts are super close to each other, be careful not to combine the soldering material together, as this can create a short. Conclusion, the product was a success, music came through, and here is a little demo. Hi, my name is Brett Coster, and I did an FM radio kit model FM 88K. That's the back side. This is the front side, and we soldered some electrolytic capacitors. We also soldered ceramic capacitors, a couple coils, and then a couple resistors and diodes. The yellow button is the scan button, red button is the reset button. Big knob to turn it on and increase volume. And you hear that click, it was being turned on, you see a light on D3. Making sure the antenna is erect. The scan is just scanning into different frequencies. Finally, I found a frequency that had some music in it. And then as far as references, I have the assembly and instruction manual. Then I did watch 2 YouTube videos of people soldering it and just kind of explaining it in more detail. Thanks for watching my video. I appreciate your time, and y'all have a wonderful day.